Racing is one of the most thrilling things on the planet. Speed, risk, skill, and pure adrenaline. But in this video, we're not talking about your average Sunday circuit race. We're diving into the most extreme, most dangerous, and sometimes downright insane races in the world. From scorching deserts to icy mountain roads, from wide-open dunes to narrow city streets. These events push both machines and humans to their absolute limits. Let's kick things off with the first one. Number 1. All right. So the Baja 1000 is one of the craziest races on the planet. It happens down in Mexico, on the Baja California Peninsula, and it's been running since the late 1960s. What makes it really wild is the variety of vehicles that compete. You've got motorcycles, ATVs, trophy trucks, buggies, and sometimes even beat-up old VW Beetles going head-to-head. It's a total free-for-all. The race itself isn't always the exact same route. Some years it's a big loop. Other years it's point-to-point all the way down the peninsula. But either way, it's around 1,000 miles of pure punishment. The terrain is brutal. Deep sand, rocky hills, dry riverbeds, even mountain trails. And there's barely any proper roads. Drivers are out there for over 20 hours straight sometimes, just trying to survive and not destroy their vehicle. But what really sets the Baja 1000 apart and makes it seriously dangerous is the unpredictability, not just from the terrain, but from the fans. Some of the spectators will actually build booby traps, like digging holes or stacking up obstacles, just to see drivers crash. Yeah, seriously. And on top of that, you're racing through these super remote areas, where if you break down or crash, you might be stranded for hours before help even gets to you. It's not just a race, it's kind of a survival test. Number 2. The Green Hell. All right, let's talk about one of the most legendary and most feared circuits in the world, the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It's tucked away in the forests of Western Germany, and it's been around since the 1920s. Originally built as a testing ground for the German auto industry, it quickly became one of motorsport's ultimate challenges. Over the years, it's hosted everything from Formula One to touring cars to endurance races. And today, it's still used by a crazy mix of vehicles, GT cars, prototypes, motorcycles, even regular street cars during public track days. The Nordschleife, which literally means North Loop, is not your average racetrack. It's over 20 kilometers long, that's about 13 miles, and has more than 150 corners. It's super narrow in some sections, with crazy elevation changes, blind crests, and corners that come out of nowhere. It winds through dense forest, and weather conditions can be totally different in different parts of the track. Dry in one area, pouring rain in another. The surface isn't smooth either. It's bumpy, old school, and punishing. This place doesn't forgive mistakes, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. At high speeds, those blind crests and sudden turns can catch even the best drivers off guard. There are barely any runoff areas, so if you mess up, you're likely hitting a wall or a barrier hard. The combination of length, speed, and unpredictability makes it mentally exhausting. A single lap takes over 7 or 8 minutes for most race cars. Number 3. The Dakar Rally. Survival of the fittest. All right, now we're talking about one of the toughest, most brutal races in the world, the Dakar Rally. Originally known as the Paris-Dakar Rally, it kicked off back in 1979, starting in France and finishing all the way down in Dakar, Senegal. These days, it no longer runs in Africa. It moved to South America for a while, and now it's held in Saudi Arabia. But no matter where it goes, it stays true to its roots. Long, dangerous off-road madness. The vehicles, pretty much anything that can survive hell. We're talking motorcycles, quads, trucks, cars, and specially built rally raid vehicles, all purpose-built to take on the harshest conditions on Earth. The technical side of Dakar is just bonkers. The race usually spans over 2 weeks, covering thousands of kilometers, sometimes close to 9,000 kilometers, depending on the year. And it's not on regular roads. It's deserts, dunes, rocky mountains, riverbeds, endless plains, terrain that constantly shifts. Each day is a new stage, with a different route, and a lot of it involves navigating through total emptiness. Drivers don't just follow a track, they use road books and GPS, which sounds cool until you realize how easy it is to get totally lost in the middle of nowhere. It's not about just going fast. You need to be smart, strategic, and kind of fearless. Now let's get into why Dakar is so incredibly dangerous. First off, the terrain is absolutely brutal. Imagine flying across sand dunes at high speed, only to drop off the other side, not knowing if it's a smooth landing or a steep cliff. Rocks destroy tires, deep sand overheats engines, and visibility is constantly messed up by dust storm. The rally can be. But even with that reputation, the Dakar Rally is still going. Every year, it draws in some of the best off-road racers on the planet. The route might change, the continent might change, but the spirit of the Dakar, that mix of endurance, danger, and pure adventure, is very much alive. In fact, for a lot of racers, just finishing Dakar is a career-defining achievement. It's not about winning, it's about surviving. Number 4. In this island, people are crazy. All right, so the Isle of Man TT. This one's in a league of its own. It takes place on a small island between England and Ireland, called the Isle of Man. The race has been around since 1907, and it's all about motorcycles. Not just any bikes, though. We're talking full-on race-spec superbikes, flying down public roads at 200 miles per hour. It's not on a racetrack. It's literally on streets that regular people drive on the rest of the year, through towns, over hills, past stone walls, and lampposts. Total madness. The course is called the Snaefell Mountain Course, and it's about 37.73 miles long per lap. The top races are multiple laps, so riders are covering hundreds of miles at full speed through some of the most unforgiving terrain imaginable. There are over 200 corners on the course, with names like Balaguerre and the Mountain Mile, some of them fast and flowing, others tight and deadly. The road surface isn't perfect. The lighting changes constantly, and the weather can flip from sunny to foggy to rainy, all in the same lap. It's a true test of skill, courage, and maybe a little bit of madness. Extra. If you want to see millionaires racing, here is another dangerous race. All right, so the Monte Carlo Rally is one of the most iconic events in all of motorsport, especially in the world of rallying. It takes place every January in the mountains of Monaco and southern France, and it's been around since 1911. Yeah, it's been testing drivers for over a century. The cars, modern rally monsters, all-wheel drive beasts with crazy suspension setups, and drivers who seem to have no fear. It's part of the World Rally Championship, so the best of the best come to compete here every year. Now here's the thing about Monte Carlo. It looks glamorous. It's got that Monaco flair, with the fancy buildings and beautiful scenery, but the rally itself is brutal. The stages take place high up in the French Alps, and the conditions are completely unpredictable. You can start a stage on dry tarmac, then hit snow, then ice, then maybe some rain, all in a single run. Drivers have to make tire choices before each loop of stages, and if they guess wrong, they're toast. Some guys will be sliding around on slicks with no grip, while others are on full snow tires. It's a total gamble, and this is where the danger comes in. You're going full throttle on narrow mountain roads with sheer drop-offs, no guardrails, barely enough space for a car to fit, and the surface can go from grippy to ice rink with no warning. There's black ice, hidden patches of snow, blind corners. It's just chaos. And the rally runs day and night. So yeah, sometimes these guys are flying down icy alpine roads at 100 plus kilometers per hour in the dark, with nothing but their co-driver shouting pace notes and a couple of headlights lighting the way. Total madness. The Monte Carlo Rally has definitely had its dark moments. There have been fatal crashes over the years. Drivers, co-drivers, and even spectators have lost their lives. Rallying in general is risky, but Monte Carlo adds that extra layer of unpredictability. You're not just fighting the road or the clock, you're fighting the elements too. But despite all that, Monte Carlo is still going strong. It kicks off every World Rally Championship season and sets the tone for the year. It's one of the most respected wins in the sport. If you take victory here, especially in tricky conditions, you earn serious respect. The legend of Monte Carlo lives on, and so does the danger.